Welcome. My name is John Amaral, and today we're going to be diving into answering the three most common questions that I get asked all the time about somatic energy healing. This is a very exciting time to be getting involved in this space of healing, of energy and consciousness, and I'm truly glad that you're here. I mean, this space has been evolving and changing, and it is so different. It's come so far from when I started out almost 3 decades ago with my early training. And now our aim with somatic energy healing is really to inspire, it's to empower, it's to equip, and it's to connect the next generation of leaders who are going to be taking this field to its next evolution, who are going to be transforming what is possible with this energetic type of work. And it's not going to happen just in people's practices and with their clients. It's going to be happening in every aspect, in every facet of people's lives, from the places of work to their communities, to their places of play, and to all personal relationships and professional areas. And it's just a truly exciting time, and I am so grateful that you are here. So just about every single day, I get asked some version of the same exact question, which is what you're doing with somatic energy healing like this modality or like that technique, or how does it compare to X, Y, or Z? And I understand the question because from the outside, if you're just hearing about it from a friend or if you're seeing something on social media, it's hard to tell the differences between what people are doing when it comes to quote unquote energy work. So I usually give people this metaphor, and that is the space of energy healing as a whole can be understood the way we understand the arts or medicine. So, you could take a ballet dancer, an oil painter, and an opera singer, which are all, falling under the umbrella of the arts. They're all different types of artists, but, they are practicing wildly different expressions of art. And the same thing in medicine. You could take a neurosurgeon, you could take a dermatologist. They're both MDs. They both went through medical college. They're both specialized in different ways. And they both fall within the category of medicine, but they work in very, very different ways, and they have different specialties. Both of them are essential at different times, but we don't mistake the two. We recognize that they have different approaches and serve different purposes. So energy healing is really the same way in that sense, that there are many different approaches, there are many different techniques, there are many different modalities, and we all, in one way or another, are in the area, the field of energy healing, are going to fall under the same umbrella, but the reasons that you'd see one type of practitioner versus another can vary just as much as it will vary if you're seeing a medical doctor or if you're going to experience the arts and you want to hear an opera or you want to look at a display of fine art in the form of paintings, right? There are different purposes and different reasons. So why would someone go see a somatic energy practitioner versus another type of energy practitioner? While practitioners using this approach, they're really looking to meet many different outcomes when they're working with someone, but there are two main outcomes that we have when we're working with somatic energy healing that makes the most profound difference in the quality of people's lives. So first, somatic energy practitioners address what are called dominant adaptation patterns. So adaptation patterns are the ways that we adapt to the experiences, to the stressors, to the traumas, to the injuries, physically, mentally, emotionally, that we've had throughout our lives. So in the training, we're going to go really deep into the subject and into how they happen, how they show up in the body, how you work with them, how they resolve, and really how they relate to every facet of life. But for now, the best way I think you could think of these adaptation patterns is that they're really, number one, they're a specific way of restricting the flow of energy within the body. So when we're injured, when we're emotionally traumatized, when we react and go into these fight, flight, or freeze states, we restrict or distort the flow of energy through the meridians in the body, through all the channels, and not just on the kind of subtle level, but on the physical level as well. We distort or change the way the energy is flowing within us. Number two, there are patterns of tension involved in these adaptation patterns that get anchored at specific regions of the body, specifically in the spine, in the nervous system, in the muscular system, in the fascia, throughout the tissues of the body. And when these distortions happen, these physical tension patterns get anchored or locked in, the posture changes, the breathing changes, the neurology changes, the brain function changes, the body, we go into a reactive, defensive, protective mode, which is not conducive to healing, it's not conducive to growth, it's not conducive to our evolution on literally every level. So that change or restriction in the flow of energy, along with these patterns of tension, are also accompanied by a distortion in the experience of our consciousness. So when you're in an adaptation pattern, it's like being in a lens. It's like having a pair of colored glasses on, right? That distorts everything that's coming into your awareness. So if my experience, which one of the adaptation patterns that we work with in somatic energy healing has to do with being held or locked in the experience of something that happened in the past. So the body is holding on to the tension, the energy flow is disrupted, and there's this lens, this perceptual distortion that anchors us to the experience of a physical or sexual abuse, an auto accident, an injury, a fall, a disease, cancer that we went through as a child, or some betrayal or loss of a loved one. These experiences that happened in the past that we did not resolve and discharge the energy of still play out in our system in the present, and our lens is a reference constantly to that past experience, so that new and in the moment experiences are actually filtered through the experience of being stuck in that past unresolved traumatic stress experience. So that's one of the adaptation patterns of the 7, because there are actually 7 dominant adaptation patterns that we work with in somatic energy healing. One of them has to do with being stuck or locked in the past. Another one of them has to do with being stuck in the experience or the concern about the future. So what might happen, the uncertainty of what might be coming down the pipe, what might happen next, what we might lose, what might go away, how's it all going to work out, loss of the experience of trust and the feeling of being able to be in the moment and just experience life as it unfolds. So that is another adaptation pattern that has a specific anchors. It has specific anchors in the physical body. It has a change in the physiology, and it has a change in our lens or a perceptual state of consciousness that we can address in somatic energy healing. And then there are still yet other patterns that, like one of them that involves the experience of the lens of betrayal, or the experience of being betrayed, or the loss of trust that comes when something happens to us that we were not expecting, and we lost that state of innocence and feeling like we were safe with someone or in a situation. And so that lens becomes a distortion that we hold as a protective posture, change in breathing, shift in physiology, shift in brain function, shift in energetic fields around our body, shift in the flow of energy through our body, which becomes a distortion that makes us see even situations where we would be safe, where someone would not betray us, as a potential for betrayal. So we're always on guard, we're always vigilant, and we're always prepared for the other shoe to drop, or for someone to screw us over or take something from us again, right? So that's another adaptation pattern that has a specific effect and a playing out in our system. So in somatic energy healing, again, there are 7 of these different adaptation patterns that we address, and these patterns are found in all human beings. I've worked with, tens of thousands of people over the past almost 30 years and found these patterns show up over and over again. We all are adapting to different stresses and different challenges. We all have been through traumatic experiences. We're all doing our best to just make it through life and have a good life and be happy and be connected to the people that we love and care about. But these adaptation patterns, they get in the way because they hold us into these distorted lenses of reality. So in somatic energy healing, we are helping to liberate people from these adaptation patterns so they can return to a whole, connected, integrated way of being and begin to move forward in life. And sometimes we're working on an acute pattern. We're working with someone who's in an adaptation pattern that's going on right now. You've developed a response to something that you're currently or you recently experienced. There was an accident, there was an injury, there was a betrayal, there was a loss. And sometimes in somatic energy healing, we're working with that pattern in the now. But sometimes these patterns have been persistent with people throughout their lives, from an experience that happened when they were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, or during the birth process, or when they were 12 or when they were 15, and now they're 40 or 50 years old, and they've been living in that adaptation. They've been living in that distortion or lens, right, throughout their whole entire lives. And I've worked with people. There was one woman I worked with who was incested. She was sexually abused by her father, and her body was in a chronic adaptation state where her tailbone was tucked under, her shoulders were rounded, her breathing was shallow, her body was in a protected, insulated posturing, and she was in that pattern since she was like 4 years old, and she was 34 years old. So when we address that pattern, the energy that was held in the body, that was bound in the soft tissues, that was held in her energy field, that was held in this distortion, was released and resolved for the first time in her life. After I worked with her, she felt, rather than a distortion of fear and a sense of not being enough and shame and helplessness and hopelessness, she felt an experience of possibility, that she was possibly enough, that what happened to her was not her fault, that there wasn't something fundamentally wrong with her, and that there was the possibility that maybe she was lovable. And within several months of beginning to work with this woman, she was in a beautiful relationship. And shortly after, over the next year, she ended up getting pregnant, marrying this person, having a child, and her whole life changed because the lens of distortion that was linked into this past traumatic experience, that was energetic, that was physical, that was physiological, that was anchored in her body, but also that was held in her consciousness, shifted. And that is the power that we have, the potential power that we have with somatic energy healing, to integrate and help someone integrate all those parts of them, so that they don't have to live in this distorted version of reality, and they can come into the truth and the light and be whole and be healed and truly engage in life in a powerful and a beautiful way. So in somatic energy healing, we consider what happened in the body, in the physiology, in the nervous system, in the energy system, in someone's perceptual system, their experience of life that's in their cognition and consciousness. We take all that into account, and we recognize that people are walking around in these reactive states that are really holding them hostage to an experience that they haven't been able to fully resolve. A part of them that they have been protecting, part of them that they have been either consciously or unconsciously trying to keep controlled or contained because it's too painful to be with it. And sometimes the experiences that we had on a physical level, like an auto accident or an injury, a broken bone, it was tied into an experience that we didn't recognize or feel had a strong emotional or even a psychological or even a spiritual component to it. But through this type of work, we can begin to unpack, unhook from, can resolve patterns that often are deeply, deeply connected to our childhood, our lineage, sometimes even the epigenetic and the larger patterns of the fields of a culture, of even all humanity. They can be addressed and potentially and often resolved through this type of approach. And secondly, beyond the adaptation patterns that are addressed in somatic energy healing, somatic energy practitioners are helping to resource, I call it, the organizing fields of energy and consciousness that are existing within and around somebody's bodies. So What this means is that we're using specific techniques to help people express more of their physical, their emotional, their mental capacities and capabilities, while at the same time connecting to higher aspects of consciousness that exist beyond the thinking mind. So there is a transcendent aspect of our nature, and there is an energetic, what I call energetic blueprint that we all come into this life with, and then part of it through conditioning and part of it through just how we're naturally wired, we develop and create a way of experiencing our life. We have energetic gifts. We have energetic capabilities. Some people can focus their mind in very genius ways. Some people have incredible emotional range. Some people have incredible ability to perceive, empathically connect with others. Some people have the ability to use their body in extraordinary ways. Some people have an amazing amount of life force energy. Some people have an ability to relate to others in a very, very powerful way, feel and sense what's going on in very intricate and delicate ways with others. There are all these gifts and capacities and capabilities that we have in our energetic systems, and then we all have certain challenges. So some people have a harder time feeling and expressing emotion. Some people have a harder time with boundaries. Some people have a harder time experiencing and connecting to something that is transcendent, feeling connected to something that goes beyond their thinking mind. So we all have challenges when it comes to our energetic system. And in somatic energy healing, we begin to understand how to work with the energy fields that are shaping our own lives and other people's lives. And we begin to understand how these fields function, the consciousness associated with them, and what it's like when certain energy fields are fueled or resourced and highly energized, and what it's like when certain energy fields are not well energized and we really are having a challenge expressing that energy and consciousness. And we gain awareness through this process of the underlying energetic forces and the patterns that influence virtually every facet of our lives. And we begin to create real changes, not only in ourselves, but with the people that we're working with, as we begin to understand and work with these energy fields of subtle energy and consciousness that are truly shaping and influencing life on all levels. So that's the second part of what differentiates somatic energy healing, that we're working with, we're learning about, we're understanding, and we're beginning to utilize these fields of energy and consciousness, the subtle energy and consciousness system and our energy blueprint. And we're learning how to resource and amplify and activate different aspects of our energetic system. And we're learning how to navigate the challenges that we face just by being incarnated as a human being, because we all have gifts and we all have challenges. And somatic energy healing is a way to begin to optimize, enhance, and really learn in a deep and profound way how to use our energetic system more profoundly. So who is the Somatic Energy Healing Practitioner Training for? You know, we had 4 really specific types of people in mind as we were creating this training. Number 1 is the career practitioner, someone who just feels and knows that they want to do this work and they want to do it as a profession, and they want to commit their lives to practicing energetic work and really learning how to be masterful. The second person that we had in mind is someone who is already a professional, who is practicing. Maybe they're an acupuncturist, maybe they're a massage therapist, maybe they are a sound healer, maybe they're a coach, a health coach, maybe they are a yoga practitioner trainer, but they're in the field of health and wellness and they want to add tools to the tool belt. They already have tools that they're using, but they want to understand the energetic system. They want to understand the energetic subtle body. They want to understand energy and consciousness and how that plays out with our body even more in depth. 3, you have the person that's just on their own healing journey. So if you're someone who is just interested in learning more and learning real depth about healing, about energy, about consciousness, about the body, and about how somatic and energetic practices can enhance and take your life to a whole nother level, then that is another type that I designed the program for. And then the fourth is really, I would describe as the explorer with a shared mission. So one of the ways that I would describe the explorer with a shared mission is that we have someone in our group that went through the training to become a somatic energy practitioner, but they're a Harvard-trained psychiatrist, and they're not going to be using somatic energy healing modality with someone on the table and working on them in the way that you might see many of the practitioners working with people. They're a psychiatrist. They work in the field of trauma. So they're utilizing concepts, utilizing elements, utilizing an understanding of the adaptation patterns and how those show up in various ways in different systems of the body to inform and enhance and add to their curriculum and what their perspectives and what they're already doing. So those four types, I want to go a little bit more in depth so that if you find yourself maybe in one of those categories, you can better understand how the training it might be a fit for you. So if you fall into that first category of you want to be a career practitioner, either you're already a practitioner, an energy practitioner of some type, or you're a chiropractor, or you are a massage therapist, or you're a licensed, maybe you're an acupuncturist, or whatever it is that it may be your modality. And you're looking to improve, how you're working, or you're looking to move the way you're working into a much more energetic process and really learn this technique, this approach, this path in depth and in detail, then this is a really amazing opportunity for it. Because if I think about myself, I had a practice with my wife for over 22 years in Northern California, a little coastal city called Santa Cruz, and we had a practice where we saw hundreds of people a week. Sometimes I'd see 75 to almost 100 people in a single day. A very high volume, busy practice. Pediatrics, we had a lot of children, infants. We were at home births. Pediatricians sent us patients. We had work comp. We had personal injury, and it was a chiropractic practice originally. So we had a practice where we saw teachers, we saw highway patrol, we saw firefighters, we saw people that worked in Silicon Valley, people that worked at Google, people that worked, we saw a huge range of people, and we saw many people daily, right? And we did this for decades. And that way of practicing was a way of practicing that I moved out of, shifted to where I might spend an entire day or weekend or several days with one client, with one person doing deep immersive work. And I might see 2 to 5 people in a week. And then we do retreats and events all over the world and teaching, and we have a different format, but it's still energetic work. It's still under the umbrella of working with energy, but it's a totally different way. And so the person who is, who wants to make this a career, a profession, something that you do, I just want to say there are so many ways that you can do this. And it's exciting because there are many different paths, and all of the modalities and all of the tools that are available to someone who wants to learn energy work are something that can be explored. And then you could pick and choose the things that you want to include, and the things that you don't resonate with, you can set aside. And so with the training, the goal is to give a very in-depth and deep approach that if you really commit yourself and really put in the time, you can learn how to do very deep, very profound energetic work with people through this training. And so that is one person who may be excited about exploring and learning from this training. Now there's another group, which is I call the adding a tool to the tool belt group. And this is the person who's already working with a modality or multiple modalities, or maybe they're a professional, they're licensed, certified in a particular field, and they're just wanting to expand their capabilities. They want to add more depth. They want to make more impact, have more depth of impact with the people they're working with, but they're not necessarily, wanting to be a somatic energy healing practitioner and specifically follow this technique and these protocols, but want to learn about them in depth and see what they want to take and apply to their particular approach. And so that is another group that we've identified as someone that can get truly profound benefit from the training that we've developed here. And then we have the group that is the person who is on their own healing journey and is just serious about learning everything that they can. Like my own healing journey has led me to explore so many different modalities. I've read so many books, so many experiences that I've had, so many different things that I've tried. And so anytime that I get interested in something, I want to go deep. I want to learn from the source. I want to learn from where I can get the most depth and truly the most specificity. And so if you're someone who just wants to learn for your own growth, for your own journey, for your own curiosity, for your own exploration, to be able to understand and feel and work with the energy fields that are influencing your life, to be able to potentially serve other people, maybe work with friends or maybe work with family members, and understand how you can grow to new levels and how you can support them, then this is also an opportunity through this training. And then finally, we have the explorer, like I mentioned, that's on the mission, same mission of helping others, of serving others, of making this world a better place, bringing more love, more light, more energy, more possibility, and just truly making a difference in the world, making an impact. But maybe you're a therapist, maybe you're a psychiatrist, maybe you're an educator of some type, maybe you're a researcher, and you don't have a desire to learn how to work on people. You're never going to put your hands on people or apply this in a clinical setting, but you want to understand what's possible in the world, in the realm of energetic and somatic work, this somatic energy healing area. Then this training also is designed to inform you and help you to better understand how these practices may fit with other modalities and where its place actually is beginning to evolve into when it comes to the culture and into all of the different modalities and approaches that exist for healing today. So I want to welcome you. I want to invite you to explore the site. I want to invite you to check out some of the samples, the examples that we have, and see if there is something here for you. So now I want to answer another question that I get asked all the time, which is how long does it actually take to learn how to do this? How long does it take to become a truly proficient somatic energy healing practitioner? So the truth is, this is not a quick weekend program. We're finding that the people who are involved in the training typically are taking several months of study, of application, of practice, of really learning what's here in the program, in the training, and then applying it on a regular basis. The people that are really committed and really studying and really applying are finding that they're able to do sessions with friends, with family, with practice partners, within several months. And then you have a whole nother level, which is to be a totally proficient practitioner where you feel that you can truly serve a wide variety of people and really know what you're doing, feel confident in what you're doing. And that takes more time. So someone who is practicing and working with these tools, working with the content, working with practicing all of the different elements that I'm teaching here in the training, might find that it takes many months. It might take, a year or more to really begin to feel proficient. That might be somewhere between over 100, maybe up to 250 sessions that you've done, practice sessions with people, to where you begin to feel that you are getting proficient because everybody is different. The patterns, the adaptation patterns that you're going to learn to work with are universal. So you're going to find that no matter what people's age, their ethnicity, their culture, their habits and practices, etc., similar patterns are going to show up in all human beings at different times. But everybody has different and unique blueprints, energetic blueprints. They have unique styles and ways of processing, and to connect with every type of person and be able to serve a wide variety from young children to the elderly to people that are from all walks of life and all different perspectives. It takes time, practice, repetition, and just experience getting your hands on a lot of people. Now, if you're someone who's already practicing, who's already working with people as a massage therapist, as a coach, as a chiropractor, as a some acupuncturist, as some type of manual therapist or physical therapist, then you already have a base of proficiency in working with many types of people, unless you're very specialized with pediatrics or very specialized with geriatrics, etc. So if you are already a professional or have a practice where you see people regularly and you feel you already have a proficiency in working with many different types of people, many different situations, then of course you're going to develop proficiency faster. It's just going to be about getting multiple sessions under your belt. So it might be 100 plus, it might be 200, 250 sessions that you've done with people over a period of time, where you develop the ability to work with all different types of people. The patterns you're going to be working with, the adaptation patterns, are going to be the same 7 patterns. They're going to be the same different adaptations you're looking for. The systems you're going to be tracking and monitoring are going to have the similar qualities, but it feels a bit different in each person. So to truly develop proficiency and feel like you could serve many types of people is going to take probably a year or so in most people's cases. And then to truly become a professional, to be a highly skilled practitioner that is a solid professional that can serve really anyone from all walks of life, that feels confident to address all types of injuries, challenges, traumas, can work with young, very newborns all the way to people that are very old. That takes longer, right? It takes practice. For me, I started out in a practice where I was seeing dozens of people a week, and then that grew to hundreds of people a week over years, and I had my hands on thousands and thousands of people over decades. I read thousands and thousands of x-rays. I looked at thousands of MRIs. I looked at tens of thousands of patient histories. I had a very high volume of data to reference, because my hands had been on so many people's bodies. I'd seen so much information, and I was able to put together a patient history with what I was feeling clinically in their body, and you start to see these patterns over time. And so to begin to see patterns and recognize them and understand how all of these things are connected can take years of practice. And it starts though with just learning how to identify the patterns and work with them in the most basic way, and that can be accomplished quickly. Again, within several months, you can be working with someone and doing sessions, and maybe less for some of you, especially people that already have a background in the healing arts and already have clients to work with and practice with, or practice partners and colleagues that you could work with, or family members. Again, to gain proficiency where you feel solid, you feel confident, you feel like you know what you're doing, and you have certainty in what you're doing, that can take many months and up to a year or more, where you get hundreds of sessions under your belt and you begin to feel confident in your ability to apply the work. And then again, the professional level is when you have worked with many hundreds of people over a period of time, and you've seen many different patterns, and you begin to feel that you are very solid in what you're doing, and people could come to you from all walks of life, from all over the world even, and work with you, and you would be able to serve them. So that's really what I would consider the professional level. And again, that is a level that then you could take years of development. So depending on what your objectives are and how committed you are and how you dedicate yourself and how much practice you put in, you could be doing this work in a number of months and doing it at a relatively significant level where you're very proficient within a year. And then to become truly a professional, it could be years. And then to become truly masterful, it could truly take, decades, right? We know that to become a master at anything, the saying is that it takes 10,000 hours, right? 10,000 hours of focused application to anything, you gain a level of mastery. So if you think about what 10,000 hours, 10,000 hour-long sessions, that's a long time. It could take a long time to see 10,000 people. So not everyone will be, having an objective of being a master practitioner. But truly what it takes to become a master practitioner is a dedication. And you don't have to be a master practitioner. You can be a phenomenally proficient practitioner. You can be a professional practitioner, or you can be kind of a hobbyist that can work with friends, you can work with family members, can work with your own kids, and really serve people. And you don't have to have a dedication at any of these levels except for your own exploration. So all of these are possible. And I just wanted to lay it out because oftentimes as we are exploring, is this training right for us? How long is this going to take? We have those questions. Could I really become good at this? And the truth is anybody can who is committed. Everybody has unique gifts and talents. Everybody processes energy in different ways. Everybody has a different learning style. Everybody has a different pace. But if you truly want to learn and you truly want to help people and you truly want to apply somatic energy healing in sessions with people, the information is here. The opportunity is here in this training, and it's all laid out, and it is possible for you.